Hey guys, well, I'm back again with another dinosaur playset video. In this one, we're going to cover the Isle of Terror Jurassic Village from Marx, and not the classic Marx Company by Louis Marx. This is kind of an upstart outfit in the 90s that bought up a bunch of the old molds by Marx and MPC. And I only know of two play sets they came out with. They probably came out with more, but anyway, this one was sold in 1996, and I remember seeing ads for it in the back of a toy magazine. I think along with that Flintstone set, the 30th anniversary Flintstone set. It actually came out in 91, but was sold for a few years after that. But I believe this was around $70 when it first came out. I might be wrong about that. Anyway, that's the box we see there. And this is kind of it looks almost like a custom playset put together by a fan. The art, the cover of the box here is looks like fan art. I mean, it's just a label with adhesive on the back. You can see where the corner there is, it's starting to loosen up a little bit. And the rest of it's a big box, kind of like those mountain boxes. The boxes for the mountain playsets. It was just taped on that end there. I just kept it that way. And as we can see, it's not bad. For a playset with this big a box, it's prone to be damaged over time, especially when you ship it around like these things always get done. And when you see them offered for sale now, the boxes are usually in pretty bad shape because of the size of them, and it's been a few years since it's been out and all that. And even though this playset is, they didn't make very many of them. It was aimed at the collector market, and by then the Marx and MPC old style playsets were a little passe, and for new collectors. And it was kind of expensive, and the old collectors that were serious about Marx and MPC, they probably didn't take to this very well. But what attracted me to it was the fact that even though it's kind of a lame playset for a Jurassic Park type playset, which is what it was aimed at, the popularity of Jurassic Park in the 90s, still for old-time collectors, it's kind of a treasure trove conglomeration of recast parts from various playsets. It's kind of fun to look back on. And also it has the big mountain piece from the Marx Prehistoric Mountain, as well as the Comanche Pass and all that. And that was the first time I had ever seen that piece, because I wasn't collecting or buying toys back in the late 70s, and even in the mid 70s. I wasn't buying dinosaur playsets, so I never had those mountain sets back then. It would be a few years yet before I would actually get into those. But anyway, I think I ordered this from a toy shop ad around the year 2000 or so. It was still relatively new then. And anyway, when you see this offered for sale now, it still doesn't sell for very much, even though there aren't many of them that ever show up, in the marketplace. It's just not very popular. Now, I think it's pretty cool for what it is. It's because I just love dinosaur playsets. And anyway, let's take a look at it. We looked at the box. We will look at the parts next. Okay, here we have the pieces. There's the big mountain piece back there. This is, like I said, this is a real conglomeration of parts from different sets originally, all recast for this. It's like they just threw everything in this that they thought might somehow apply to a Jurassic Park type situation, including a gem mine. Now this looks cool. It's that speckled gray plastic, you know, it's hard plastic. This was originally offered by Marx in some of their Western playsets, like Gunsmoke and different ones. Here's a two-part bridge that was offered in some of their military sets. There's a helicopter, a big playmat. Now this stuff is totally out of scale with each other, which is another reason why it really didn't appeal to collectors all that much. Here's the MPC trees, like that came in the King Kong jungle set and different other jungle sets by MPC. I think it came in the Planet of the Apes set. Here's the bridge that is usually with it, you know, meant to go between the trees. And here's a toll booth that I guess was used to represent where you pay to go into the dinosaur park or whatever. Now this is maybe the lamest part of all of it here. There are 16 sections of this barbed wire, and I know it's supposed to be intended for these to be put together to make pins for the dinosaurs as an exhibit, like in Jurassic Park. Problem is you can't make corner sections with this. You can just like join a couple together or not, and kind of lean them up against something to make like a four-sided pin. Here's a recast of the hut from MPC jungle sets, including the King Kong jungle set. And military vehicles, totally out of scale with the people, and some of the other parts kind of in scale with the dinosaurs. Now, you know, I got to say, the dinosaurs aren't in exact scale either. The Marx dinosaurs never were. They're just in approximate scale. But these vehicles might be in scale with some of the certain dinosaurs, maybe like the Brontosaurus. Anyway, there are 6 vehicles: a tank, an armored personnel carrier, a truck with a searchlight, a couple of trucks, like I guess they're deuce and a halves or whatever, and this one's covered, and a boat. That's kind of cool, having the boat, because there's a lot of water area. This is supposed to be on an island, and the island ain't big enough to put a small percentage of this stuff on. And here are the parts, some of the smaller parts. There's the part you put in the trees to make them stand up, and these are the posts for this tent that is supposed to be like an office area, which is really kind of weird. But it came with a set of trees and ferns. It came with these guys here. They're military, but they're like doing maintenance work. I mean, I guess they are supposed to work to make sure to have military on site, but to make sure the dinosaurs don't get out of the pens or whatever. And these were originally offered in some of the Marx military sets, like the Training Center in Cape Canaveral, I think. Now, this is some of the most useless parts of the whole thing. Here are the pieces of furniture and stuff for the recreation area. That's got a phone booth, you know. And yeah, I mean, in the 90s we had phone booths, and they had a purpose before everybody had a cell phone. But just happening in this set, and this here, I mean, look at all this furniture, office furniture. It's like, yeah, we'll throw it in, you know. It'll up the piece count, and we can charge more for it, I guess was the line of thinking there. And that's that. Now I'll try to set it all up. Oh yes, before I set it up, let's talk about the dinosaurs, which is probably the most important part of the set. Of course, all these are recast. Everything in this set's recast, but here is one shot of the large mole group with the potbelly T-Rex. Now, the large mole group is in the coffee brown color for this. And it's not great plastic. It's kind of a cheaper grade of plastic, but it'll suffice, you know. Brontosaurus. Of course, that was a Brontosaurus. And yeah, I know, Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus, but the toys are Brontosaurus, and that's what we're going to go with. Doesn't matter what paleontology thinks really happened. The toys are Brontosaurus. Okay, now this set of mine came with 19 dinosaurs, and that's what it says on the box it's supposed to have. There, like I said, one shot of the large mole group, two shots of the medium mole group, which is the Hadrosaurus. There's two of each of these. Trachodon, which I don't think that even exists anymore with paleontology. But the toys are Trachodon. Pteranodon. Ankylosaurus. And let's see, yeah, they've got the name and the length on these, just like the regular. Of course, these are just recast of the original Marx. And Allosaurus. Okay, now, they didn't have the small mole group at this time, so they threw in 4 MPC dinos. 2 of the Plateosaurus, and these are in the gray, and 2 of the MPC pteranodons. So you get 4 pteranodons in this. Now, another variation of this is instead of 2 shots of the medium mole group, they had 1 shot of the medium mole group and 1 shot of the second series mole group, which included the mammals. But the Megatherium was not in it because that mole got damaged or something when Toy Shop got a hold of it. Anyway, there are only 7 of those instead of 8. So if it's got that variation of dinosaur figures, it actually came with 20 instead of 19. And from what information I've read, that was probably more common than what I got here, which is correct by the box, which is 19. Either one's correct. It's just these things vary quite a bit. Now I'll set it up. Well, I did what I could with it, which ain't saying a lot. I do want to say a lot of this I did not set up, these pieces, like the office furniture and the recreation furniture. That stuff is kind of useless. I mean, I guess it's okay to play with for kids separate from this, or if somebody needed some of these pieces to fill in an older playset and they didn't mind using the recast pieces. But this set was never sold to kids. I mean, it came out in '96, and kids were well moved on from these playsets by then. It was sold to collectors at a collector price, so it doesn't have that nostalgic value that people have for certain toys that are high in their estimation because they played with it as a kid. Nobody played. So I mean, some people might have bought this and ended up giving it to their kids because it wasn't the collectible they thought it would be, but not many of them sold. So anyway, I tried to do something with the fence sections. About the best I could do is put a couple of them together behind the hut. Like I said, this stuff's way out of scale. I mean, look at this guy here with the truck, you know, and he's a freaking giant. And put the toll booth on the bridge. And I mean, I guess about the only way you could play with this thing is that the dinosaurs broke out of containment, and the military was sent in. I mean, you got the tank and the armored personnel carrier, but the soldiers that they put in this are training people. They're like loading bombs onto planes, and you know, it didn't include any patrons, any they couldn't get any recast figures of normal people as patrons to put in this thing. So let's do the fly around anyway. I don't mean to sound so negative. I mean, this is just, honestly, this is just not a good playset. It misses the mark as a collector's playset, and it misses the mark totally as a child's playset, except for very small children that just don't care if anything makes any sense or not. And I tried to make some of this kind of make sense, the way I put the pieces around, but it's virtually impossible. For one thing, this island is so freaking small for all these pieces, and some of the stuff's like out beyond. You just have to imagine there's more land back there. The gem mine is back there. And a lot of these pieces look cool on their own, you know, and in the right context, they would be really cool. They were cool in the original playsets by Marx and MPC, but in this, it just don't cut it. There's the helicopter, and there is a good place for all the pteranodons, since we got the mountain piece there. Since there's no cavemen, and normal people ain't going to get up there and climb a mountain, so you can't really make good use of the caves. Yeah. Anyway, here's what it says on the playmat there. And you notice it does not say Marx of Miami. It just says Marx Toys. The Marx of Miami company, they commandeered the old Marx logo. I guess maybe they got that as part of the deal when they got some of the molds after Marx went bankrupt in 79. I mean, in 72, Louis Marx sold Marx to the Nabisco company, I think it was, and then in 76 they sold it to a British company called Dunby Convex, and then in 79 and 80 they took bankruptcy, and then the molds were flung to different corners of the world, and then this Marx of Miami company came in and they bought it up, you know, and bought up all the old molds they could find and tried to put together some sets with collectors in mind, and this is one of them. So there you go. That about covers that. Don't mean to sound negative. It's just not a great set. But I covered it. Came out in 1996. That is the Marx Isle of Terror Jurassic Village playset. I'm out of here.